Hey everybody, it's Dr. Dana Martin, your host for the Sith Dominion podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a little bit of a change in the lineup tonight, which is fantastic. I mean, not fantastic because Debbie's missing, but fantastic because we got Kat back. Hey, how you been? We haven't had you on the show in a while. Tell us what's been going on, Kat.
Oh, well, we bought a new house and moved. That's
Wait, hold on. Still in the same area, city you were.
Oh yeah, like 10 minutes from my old house.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Like literally same zip code still.
There you
Like
go.
yeah, same zip code and everything. I needed more space. And so with running my business and all, like I needed more space than our house had.
And I'm gonna interject before you get going. How many times? Probably 6 times over the last 2-3 months I've asked you to be on the show again. So it's not like I don't want her on the show.
Oh yeah, no. I've legit just been like, life has been crazy. And I'm like, I don't want to come on here and just be a zombie because like that's what I would have been. I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
That's okay. Zane's like that sometimes. Awesome. So big move. And everything apparently in our pre-show, we were talking a little bit all the fun things that occur when you get a new house that maybe isn't exactly the way it's supposed to be either.
Yeah. Let's just say that my other house that I bought it as a fixer-upper was an easier move-in than the more move-in ready house has been.
Gotcha. Hold on.
But some of that is also because I need certain specifications, like I have to have an electrician come out and add extra plugs to accommodate like all of my crafting equipment.
Do you wire up Ethernet your house?
No, we have Google Fiber. So we don't need it for that because we've got all the whole mesh network going with that, and Google, the fiber mesh is pretty good. But as my business has grown, my number of machines has grown, and I need more outlets.
Heck yeah!
And there's this there's this thing that like the fire department doesn't like 47 like daisy chained extension cords. I don't know what that's about. Like
it's called super surge protection.
Yeah, you just need to go and eventually everything gets you want.
Oh my god!
So that is a fire hazard.
No,
so on top of a fire hazard.
So APC, right? You get you a UPS backup, right? And I've had this one since right before, or no, when we did Diva Dad. So yeah, like during COVID, because I couldn't lose connectivity and whatever else. So I would say you got to change those out every now and then or replace the battery pack. And I didn't even think of that. So in the middle of like a freaking conference call with, I can't say who, a very big airline, you hear me just going on because the battery needs replacing, and I'm pushing the front every button and it's making more. Yeah. So I would suggest getting something like that though, if you need that constant power. The UPS is definitely a
I don't necessarily need constant power, but I need to not be running extension cords and like
super surge protection.
Yeah. I need to do it the right way. Otherwise, I'm going to be like, I don't know if anybody else has seen it. It's this electrician on Instagram. He does a reel, and he's at this woman's house. He's like, so who did this wiring for you? Oh, my nephew. He's an electrician. Oh he did his house burn down. Like 2 years ago. Wait, how did you know his house burnt down? Like, I'm trying to not be that person.
God. My goodness. Well, great to have you back, Kat. Looking forward to this one. This one's going to be fun. Who next? We'll go with Cam. How was your week, Cam?
Hey, man, just building Legos and reading Lord of the Rings. You know me. I'm a simple guy. That's all I do, man.
That's all you do?
I don't do nothing.
Yeah, well, okay, but we were talking about some Legos before. Do you have a build that you're working on or about to?
No, I'm waiting for the new sets on May 1st to come out. So,
yeah. Which one are you most looking forward to?
Probably the pod racing diorama. I'm not a big fan of the dioramas that they've come out with, but I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, for all the 5 fans out there, if you're looking for a gift for my birthday is in May, I would, the throne room Lego diorama. I'd be fine with something like that. That'd be cool. If you're looking. If you're not, don't worry about it. What
But
about
if you
you,
stumble
Zane?
across that set,
Oh wait, what?
But if you stumble across that set,
Yeah, I mean, if it's on sale, don't pay
You're
retail.
feeling charitable,
Yeah, that's right.
kind donation.
That's right. Zane, you had a couple of gigs last week and the week before in coming up. You're playing quite a bit. How's that going?
It's going really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually going to be recording an EP this Friday
Nice.
up at the THC in Austin.
Nice.
So that'll be good. That'll be good.
Yeah. Is this this but what is that shirt? Poison.
Poison.
What is Poison? Is that like a band? I'm just kidding. Like no, I heard like 18,000 people gasp at once. No, or 5. Whoever's listening. But yes.
you had at least me because we know that if my mouth doesn't say it, my face does. It was like
there's no poker faces going on here. So Poison, I gotta ask, like, did you get this from the show that you went to last summer or whatever?
No, I was just at Walmart.
All right, nothing interesting about that shirt. So you're cutting an EP. What else? You got you did that Tyga show. That was the weekend before.
Yeah, technically we opened for Tyga. Well, we were like the second band to play that day, and Tyga was the last. But
but you were on the same stage, right?
Exact same stage.
That's all that matters, brother.
Hey, brother.
Hey,
brother. You covered for Tyga.
That's right.
Exactly.
Don't gotta hide it.
If it wasn't for us, like, I don't know if Tyga would be there.
Facts.
He wasn't going to go on until we finished our set. I mean, that was
great.
That's great. I know you guys follow Zane. You can check him out on Facebook, Instagram, all the things. And Thomas Babiak and Third Iraq. That's the band that he's speaking of right now. There's also Bo Moore and the Back 40. Gosh, all these numbers and the
it's confusing.
It is. And is that it? Right now, those are the main ones. Is there
those
anything
are the
else?
main ones.
Okay.
Yeah, but for Thomas, we're actually playing a show in Dripping Springs this Sunday for Founders Day.
Is it a private or is it anyone?
Public. Anyone can come. It's for Founders
Dripping
Day.
Springs. Thomas Babiak and 30 Rag. Awesome. Well, I guess I didn't say what I was up to this week. I didn't do nothing. No, lots of changes at work. So just really stinking busy. Had a cool weekend. Did a couple of cool things with my wife, just spending some time. It was really, really good. Yeah. So tried out a new restaurant here locally, a Poche's. It's like a seafood or oh, do you know this place?
Yeah, I know the place.
Did you like it?
It's all right. I don't know how long it's gonna last, just in the location it's at.
Yeah, not a very good location at all.
And the price tag too.
True.
The same guy owns the Italian place over in the Tower Point area, like South College Station. It's solid.
Yeah.
I don't know about the place. I don't know about the location.
It was weird to get to. Like, and it's like, unless you're going to that place, there's no reason for you to even pass by it, quite frankly.
Dude, and like the 500 students that live over there, they can't afford to go to that restaurant, man. Like,
yeah.
like,
it's true. I had some sort of smothered catfish. It was blackened catfish with a what you call it, etouffee gravy, shrimp and crawfish etouffee over the top of it. It was on dirty rice. It was dirty and it was fantastic. Hey, welcome back, Zane.
Hey, hi.
So yeah, I just did a little of that. Caught a movie, date night type stuff. It was super fun. Did not plan for the show until yesterday. Thank you for several of you who voted in the poll on TikToks, because within the TikToks, we were able to get the show, although it was 50-50. You're welcome. Thanks. So we're doing history of the Sith. Like, how did they begin, and why did they even begin? And not just the Sith religion, right? Let's be clear. There's maybe there's people that listen to the show every now and then that don't know that the Sith are a species. Zane, do you want to start with that? Talk a little bit about the Sith species. I think there's a lot of lore in the SWTOR games that maybe, I don't know if you want to start by touching a little on some of that.
Well, a lot of what we know on the Sith species, specifically before contact with the Dark Jedi, nowhere to be seen in SWTOR. However, it is talked about in like whatever book that is, like Lost. The
Lost Tribes of the Sith.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's touched on in there. And basically, they were they mostly resided on Korriban because it had just this holy dark side, just presence, right? And it was actually the reason why the Sith were so connected to the dark side and powerful is because it was not a symbiotic relationship, but they both gained stuff from it, basically. So what would happen is the Sith would actually consume the dark side energy. It's weird, but they would use it for sustenance, and in turn, they would be able to use that dark side power a lot more.
And if I remember correctly with Korriban, wasn't there like a mineral in the core that basically helped to radiate that out?
I'm pretty sure there was.
Yes, like kyber crystally type, like that same aura. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cam, when it comes to Sith and Jedi, I know that we've had many conversations. Fundamentally, early on, let's kind of shift a little bit. So we have Sith species and Sith religion. When it comes to the Jedi breakaway, I don't know how much you know about that, and if you do, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that Jedi Civil War. Excuse me, in the Dark Jedi. Bit of all of that beginning. Sorry, excuse me. I'm gonna mute.
No dying. There's paperwork involved.
Yeah, man, you can't die. It's the wine and the vape, maybe. But no, I mean, I know a little bit, but I mean, I really liked how tough the Sith were back then, just ruthless. I mean, they were just ruthless compared to the Jedi, and I think SWTOR really captures like the really captures that really well. So, but in terms of the whole intricacies of it, I'm not too familiar with it.
It's all good. The when I think about how there was a solo girl, the infighting with the Sith as well, sure, and when we see today's Jedi and we see how 1,000 years of complacency, and we've talked about it quite a bit with Yoda, etc. When you look at kind of the great schism or the great Jedi, not schism, that was a Sith thing, the great Jedi, like where do we find that history of the Jedi, right? And how is it that those parts, do you think that's stuff that I'm trying to get to this question? Do you believe that we are still in the process of creating some of this lore from where did they come from and what are they truly about? Or do you feel like that is something that's kind of laid in stone based on where we've seen the Sith heading? And I'm talking about like the way they used Kylo Ren or the way they used Snoke or the way they used moving forward. Do you think there's enough material? Do you think there's enough out there that they're going to say this is eventually canon?
Legends?
Yeah.
They'll never do
on
that.
on the Sith part, right?
No. They're gonna make their own version of it, even though there's no source
Hopefully
material.
it's similar, but
well, I mean, so they'd have to go far into Legends to do it.
Yeah.
Because if you get into Legends, there's a lot more talk about it, but you have to kind of piece it together because it's like a chapter in this book and a chapter in that book and a chapter in that book. And I'm just not sure if they're that literate that they're going to actually pull the pieces together the way they should. I mean, we're barely getting them to acknowledge Bane and Revan.
Right. So you have other mythos like Harry Potter. Right? We know the origins of Slytherin, and I'm using them as the Sithy type of example. Right? Often misunderstood. But you have a very solid. This is how, in a canonical way, this is how it began, right? When it comes to before we had Sith and we had just Jedi, Dark Jedi, I want to circle back to that because I'm a little nervous about how we're going back in time with the Acolyte a little bit. I'm a little nervous with Camp Smile. I'm a little nervous because I think some of this stuff is already in the mythos and doesn't need to be touched. Specifically the Jedi Civil War stuff. That's huge. The Dark Jedi, the big push to out from the inner worlds, where you had Force users literally just kind of willy-nilly just like, how do you feel that harmed or helped either side in this war? And I know like Mandalore got caught up in some of it, and it's just, yeah. So that's where I'm kind of thinking,
you're talking
how
5,000 years of civil war.
Yes. Yes.
Like, you could do an entire movie series. You could do 12 movies on the 5,000 years of the Jedi Civil War. Are they going to do it? No. They're going to bring and I mean, I'm with you on that. They've stayed away from the Sith for so long.
Yeah.
But they've started to realize that, like every Disney fan base, we all started out as children wanting to be Disney princesses.
Yeah.
But the older we get, we realize we're the villains.
100%.
But I think that's kind of what they're realizing is their fan base started out as little kids who all wanted to be Luke Skywalker. And now we're like, nah, we want to be Revan, bro.
Yeah.
We want to be Ventress.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to pivot that with the Acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're on the air and I'm trying to not get this too far into like RuPaul territory. But like, I mean, that's the only saying that comes to mind is don't F it up.
Don't F it up. Yeah.
I'd like to put it out there. I'd still like to be Luke Skywalker. Jedi Luke Skywalker.
That's good for you.
With
we'll let you stay.
When we look at comparatively to the current canon, when the Jedi were so blinded they kind of screwed up things for a lot of people, right? 5,000 war of infight, 5,000 years of infighting between the Jedi, Dark Jedi, etc. That's going to cause some grief across the galaxy. Does that help you maybe justify why so many people willingly, so many planets willingly join this? There were a lot that joined, like the Separatists, right? They just joined because they're like, this is BS. Do you blame them?
No. I
mean, was it not that part of it in what we know as canon? The whole Civil War there is we're done with the way you guys are doing shit, right?
I mean, it makes sense, especially in those outer worlds that were kind of ignored by the Republic.
Sure.
They were ignored by Coruscant because, I mean, think about it here. Like, we see it here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the big cities get all the attention, and the small cities just kind of like, oh, do your thing. It's fine. I mean, it's the same thing with when you're talking on a planetary level.
Yes.
If all the Jedi and the Republic are worried about is Coruscant and the Senators, and they're not taking into account what's happening in these outer worlds, I mean, who are you going to go to? The friend of the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yep. I was looking up some stuff about because Korriban underwent its own bit of civil war, and that was within stuff we've already talked about with Malik and shit, Rev. And, yeah, what's the other guy's name? We were just talking about him. How do you think the part? Maybe we haven't asked the question in this way about Revan. How important maybe is Revan to the continuation of the Sith? Like, could the Sith have really hit a speed bump in development and growth without Revan? We're moving forward in history a little bit, obviously.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think so.
No?
I think Revan, although an integral part of what had happened, wasn't entirely necessary just because of the Emperor Darth Vitiate.
Yeah.
He was already in control at that time, you know. And I mean, he's the one who took Revan. He's the one who clouded his mind and Malik's and made him join the dark side. He was there after Revan.
Ish.
Well, no, he was. In SWTOR, spoiler alert for the 12-year-old game, you do end up killing the Sith Emperor twice. the actual Sith Emperor dies towards the end of the Jedi Counselor's story, but you end up killing Revan in his physical body, like in the middle of a flashpoint. And I think it's around the middle storyline of the Sith characters or the dark side characters. So, I mean, that's not even including Valkorion, which was his other type. So I honestly think with how prominent the Sith Emperor was, I think Revan definitely helped cause almost, it was not a split, but that kind of split in the Sith where you ended up getting the Revanites. But I don't think he was integral to the long-lasting effect of that Sith Empire.
I don't think Revan intentionally was integral. What was in that role? Yeah. I think it's just like anybody who just happens to be charismatic and good at what they do. People just started to follow. And even if he'd told them, like, no, don't separate away, they would have stayed part of, but they still would have been following Revan. So it wasn't like he went in with the usual Sith intention of, I'm looking to gain power. He was just going about doing his everyday thing, and other people started following him.
Yeah. That's interesting. So kind of that whole influence versus manipulation, right? I mean, we talked about it. I know a little in the show with him that he was able to conjure some really true followers. And I kind of think about, oh God, don't hate me, Cam. In the Rise of Skywalker, you've got all these like crazy, cultish Sith followers. I had a problem resolving that, right? Am I reconciling that? Because that's not how non-canonical Sith followers were. Like you're following the Sith, you're following the religion, you're not this brainwashed, delusional shadow up in an arena. Like it's just I don't know. Sorry. I said I wasn't gonna go upset Cameron.
Hey, you just got to say those 3 words, man, and it's really
what?
I mean,
I'm sorry, Cameron.
But no, just Rise of Skywalker, man. It really. So I had to make a drink. I figured you'd probably bring something like that.
So in your mind, I mean, when you think about prehistoric Sith, everything from that from Exar Kun and Revan and all of this to the way that they were portrayed in the 3-letter word movie. What are your thoughts on that? Because I know you don't like Rise of Skywalker anyway, but honestly, like, how do you feel? Is that a connection that you made that it would be this weird cultish thing, or?
I mean, I think in theory it kind of makes sense because you have. I This is going to be an odd comparison, but it's only the reason because I'm reading the comics. I'm reading the Avatar: The Last Airbender comics, and Aang has air acolytes, people that cannot airbend but still want to practice kind of the
Sure.
system of the airbenders. So it kind of makes sense that there's people that maybe quote unquote aren't force sensitive or whatever, but they get swept up in the ideology of the Sith. I don't know if they're masked phantoms in a big arena chanting words and stuff, but I mean, in practice it makes sense, but I don't think in execution it's definitely not what I envisioned. But,
Yeah, and I think a lot of what we collectively all know of Sith comes from the games, right? The books a little, but mostly the games. So we talk about SWTOR. There's all sorts of callbacks to the Sith. Games like the one I play on my phone, the Galaxy of Heroes. There's a Sith all through, and people who are classified as Sith, but they weren't Force users, right? So, well, that's not canon. No, I get that, but let's think about that, right? You've got a Sith army. Not every person in the Sith army is Force sensitive, and I'm guaranteeing 99% of them aren't. But you had
Yeah.
people following the ideology and buying into what especially Revan was selling at that time. Sorry, Kat, go ahead.
Well, no, because I was gonna say even in like the books for Bane, the people that were being recruited for the army, they weren't necessarily recruiting Force sensitive. They were recruiting bullet catchers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
meat shields, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a meat popsicle. You know, So-
Nice. I like the throwback. That was nice.
Yeah. So, you know, there are plenty of people out there that were, we'll call it sympathetic to the Sith side. Like they weren't necessarily culty, but they were sympathetic to it. And in some cases, it was because, well, they're not asking me a lot of questions about my past. They're going to give me 3 square meals and they're going to pay me.
Yeah.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah.
The
The
Jedi
Sith
was-
troopers, some of the most feared troopers in the galaxy from the past. Now the new Sith troopers, okay, whatever. But absolutely. I'm sorry, Cam. I can't help it. Those red Sith troopers are badass. But
It's like a whole target.
one thing I hope the Acolyte can do, and I mean George kind of did it in A New Hope, and Tolkien does it really well in his books, dropping like tidbits and establishing events that happened prior to current events, and it makes you interested and it makes you want to, you're like, I want to know more about that. And I think if the Acolyte can do something like that, since they're clearly, you know, maybe if this show does well, or I know they're doing the Dawn of the Force movie or whatever, you know, maybe if they can throw in something like that could pique our interest. Maybe they throw in, the Great Jedi Sith Civil War, or something like that. I think that maybe would garner people's attention a lot more. Definitely mine, especially if they use, because I mean they're going to take stuff from Legends. They've already done that, and so maybe if they can do it, drop those tidbits in there, then maybe we get something like that, an animated show, another live action show, movie, or whatever, maybe. But I would like to see them do that because to establish this did happen.
mm-hmm.
You're going to get some type of content from us for this, or maybe we won't.
Maybe not.
But it's in there. It's established.
We had to wait 30 years to know what the Clone Wars was, and man, when we heard that, we were like, "What the hell's Clone War? What do you mean your dad fought in a Clone War? What? What's a clone? What's a spice freight? What?" Like there was so many questions. You're exactly right. It made us like there was this event, some stake in the ground that occurred historically, which changed the course of the galaxy. And this is one of those moments, the Clone Wars. We have so many questions. So when they come out with the Clone Wars 30 years later, everybody's wanting to see it and flocking into to the theaters. You're exactly right. And you're right. They do have some. I'm sorry. Is that changing colors behind you,
Yes.
Cat? Oh, yes, it is. Look at that.
R.I.P. a legend.
Wow. I don't know where I just went. That squirrel.
He got distracted by the shiny lights. It's fine.
Yes, 100%. Oh, Darth Zane. Hello there. Kenobi. How are you doing tonight, my friend? That's great. You get opportunities, I think, to do the speculation, and we get to rip them for being dumb and stuff they've done. But really, the fans don't have the last say as far as what gets made. We know this, but we do have a say in what we enjoy and what we can talk about on this show, and that's why we're talking about what we do. The heads of Disney may not want to really dive into the Sith stuff, but man, there's so much opportunity there.
Even if you didn't dive into it from the perspective of the Sith, there is so much. But this is kind of where they kind of caught themselves in a catch-22. And I think I've brought it up on other shows of when they came in and said, well, so everything that was in Legends, that's no longer canon. And all the fans were like, so hold up.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get Darth Vader. You don't get Maul. You don't get Palpatine without Revan and Bane.
Yep.
And so that's when they were like, oh, this Revan guy. Oh, we're going to need to figure out how to work that in.
They opened their mouth and made a decision before they realized, like Dave Filoni's like, time out, guys, you can't do this. Even Happy was like, no, you can't do this. There are certain things that have to progress in a certain way. Now, they could have very easily just, we're just going to make shit up and ret everything. But I'm glad they're not. I think the fandom has been relentless, but I think that cooler heads have prevailed over at Disney. Most times, I know. I did just see another Sam interview, but I hadn't seen that he had corrected Filoni on something. Did you guys see that? Dude, I want that guy on the show. No one will see it, but I don't care. Like, that dude's amazing. His fanaticism and willingness to go all in on whatever he's doing, whenever he's doing it, for the fans is huge. That guy will yell Kenobi just to have everyone be happy, like in the Maul voice. I love it. Sorry, it's Sam, right? Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer.
There you go. Well, and he was in what you call it, Battlestar Galactica, but that's not this show. I love that new BSG, by the way. Oh, Cam, if you were to go back and I don't want to say fix because I don't know that it can be. What would you have done different with the way the Sith were portrayed? Would you have done anything different in Rise of Skywalker based on what you know of their past?
Well, Palpatine's not in the movie, so that's out of there. I don't know, man. I would have liked to have seen Kylo Ren. I mentioned it a couple shows ago. I would have liked to have seen him go all in and kind of go the opposite path. And that was kind of what I assumed after The Last Jedi he was going to do. And then people can't be just bad anymore. So, yeah, I would have liked to have seen Kylo become a full-fledged Sith Lord, go to Vader's temple on Mustafar, try and find some holocron type stuff, which he found the MacGuffin or whatever in that movie. But I would have liked to have seen. I thoroughly enjoy. It would have been, I don't know about the original Episode 9 script. I think I would have been okay with in terms of what they did for the Sith. I don't know about. I think the Sith that was in there that Kylo talks to was like Plagueis' master. I don't. Yeah, they're some creature-looking thing. I don't know if it's Tenebrous, but it is. I would have liked to have seen them do that. Yeah. I think it would have helped tie in pre Phantom Menace. It kind of would have helped tie everything together, and we would have been nice to see Kylo be a villain and not a edgy, confused teenage dude.
Yeah, in the second one, 8 movie, whatever.
He was a Disney princess. Yeah.
I love you, Adam Driver. They misuse you too, man. I mean, just like you said, for everybody that was in those
Adam
movies.
Driver. Okay, I always apologize. It's not you, Daisy. It's not you, Adam. The way you mistreated, what's his name? Hux. Throwing him up, tossing him about, the way that Snoke, ran him all over the place. Like, come on. Whoa, Vader, he forced Yeah, subtle. Tiny little force choke makes everybody in the room stop. You don't have to make an example and toss someone about. That's piss poor leadership. And Vader knew it because why? He was a freaking general in the Clone Wars. And I don't think people that were writing that thought that piece through. They made Kylo Ren this whiny little turd that didn't get his way, so he, threw a temper fit and threw someone around the room. What? I can't think, and maybe it's my lack of not reading everything out there or seeing everything out there concerning Sith. But the way Sith have been portrayed, to me, my perception up to that point was, you don't mess with them, but not because they're going to toss you about like a rag doll. I mean, they might force choke you. Like, there's this awesomeness to the stoicism that they bring. Even in their charismatic way, there's a stoicism there. I'd like to talk about that. What we have in the past as a design of what a Sith is, even up to Vader, to what we got in Kylo Ren. And this does have to do with this topic of, the beginning of the Sith. How are they built? What were they? Does this fit what we know of Sith? And now you guys go nuts.
I mean, that's always been a Sith thing, is to be charismatic.
Yes.
And know what's up. The Sith are very, very charismatic people. Like, that's part of the Sith, the manipulation side of the Sith, so to speak, that they're so well known for.
Sure.
Is people follow them blindly because they're charismatic leaders.
Yeah.
They don't follow them out of fear.
No. Not initially.
That was kind of the way they made it, even in like maybe it was The Last Jedi. I don't know. They were all so terrible. Where he threw, like, he was in like one of the rooms, like throwing this fit, bashing Vader's helmet or whatever. Yeah. And like the stormtroopers are walking and they're just like, nope, we're just going to turn and go the other way. Like, yes, it was funny because anybody who's ever worked with someone who was that way, that's pretty much what happens too. You're walking down the hallway, you hear, oh, someone's on it. We're just going to walk the other way.
Yep. Well, I want to call that out. That was a good point, David. But, and I'll say but here because you can't get on and defend yourself. The flip side is what I was just saying. Anakin had life experience. Anakin had like leading people life experience, and Kylo did not. Knights of Ren. He had 8 guys, whatever. Like Anakin led entire armies, entire platoons of soldiers, and was successful at that. So I think I would disagree that he's whiny because of that. I think he didn't have the same comeuppance as Anakin, and thus was trapped inside that 16, 18-year-old body emotionally. Wow, that was pretty profound. But I mean, if that's what traumatically happened to him by his uncle, then potentially I might be onto something. So just a thought.
Well, and I think when you think about Anakin's whininess, it was different. It was, what do you mean I'm not ready to be a leader? What do you mean? Like, I'm doing all the things you're telling me to.
Oh.
But then you're telling me that I'm not good enough. Like, because they kind of did the proverbial, they kept pushing the line. Like, oh, if you do this, then we can make you a Jedi Master. He does those things.
Push that out a little.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you're not quite there. Okay, what do I have to do? You have to do this. Okay, I've done this. Now what? Well, we need you to do this. So that was where Anakin's whiny kind of came in and his frustration. But he didn't take it out on people that weren't deserving of it.
Sure. Yeah.
Where Kylo Ren was going to make his inconvenience. He was like the girl at Starbucks that can't get the like no fat milk. Okay, he's going to make everybody's his little inconvenience everybody's problem.
Yeah, I see that. To your point, yes, I'd pop this up here. Darth Zane, David. Yes, I agree. That whininess was always there, especially in the comic. I think you can see that in Vader. It plays out not necessarily maybe a whininess, but a little bit of a I'm better than you, like with the Inquisitors.
He would go off
especially.
and just kill an Inquisitor.
Yeah, and the hallway scenes. There's two really good hallway scenes before we had Episode 3, which was, I believe, a callback to the Back to the Future hallway scenes where he's losing his shit and he's all over the hallways. So yeah, I would agree. I would agree to that point. But I just feel like the environment that they were both reared in was so different. That the things that happen traumatically to Anakin versus the things that happen traumatically to Kylo, I just don't know that they were the same level. I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like it's Hangover. Like, yeah, so your uncle may have ignited his saber, maybe not, but did you die? Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. I know Cam loves Kylo.
I have no idea what y'all are talking about.
I'm just saying, like, Kylo Ren still has his original arms and legs. I mean, Vader,
I know what kind of Sith has its own arms and legs anymore.
Honestly, like, talk about following in the footsteps of your ancestors.
Or
Luke, Anakin.
Yeah, Luke, Anakin.
Like, bro, you have all four of your limbs.
Be happy.
That's a step up in your family. Like,
so, Zane, we were talking a little bit earlier today about I can't ever say that name.
Ajunta Paul.
Yeah. Why don't you talk a little bit about give us some history? Because I don't think a lot of folks know.
So Ajunta Paul was a probably human in the Jedi Order, right? This was before the Sith were a thing, right? This is back when it was the Jedi, and he was climbing through the ranks and doing his thing, but he slowly started getting into more of that sorcery, right? And for sorcery, as we know, is a dark side established thing, right? And the Jedi didn't like that, right? But why? Why would you limit your power? And go ahead. What Ajunta Paul was a part of is called the 100-Year War, or the Second Great Schism. So even at the time of his life, he had already seen the after effects of the First Great Schism, which all you need to know is people tried to split away and fight in fighting, and they died. But the Second Great Schism was a lot of these ideals pushing for the more powerful side of the Force, trying to get into that more often. Yeah, that's what happened basically. So it was the Civil War that had happened and split them up, and it lasted for 100 years, right? Which is insane. And what it ended up with was, even the Ajunta Paul, the people who were breaking away were able to survive for 100 years against the entire might of the Republic at that time because the Jedi were helping the Republic.
Yep.
It ended up being 12
Ooh,
people
sorry.
survived.
Sidebar. The Jedi were neutral. So when we see Jedi in the movies, they are aligned with the Republic.
Even back then, though,
But back then they weren't like
the
decision
Jedi
makers.
they weren't decision makers, but
That's
they
where
were.
now they're
They
in
were
the movies, we see them as
more
decision
protectors.
makers. Sorry, that's what I guess I was getting at.
Mhm.
Their involvement is beyond guardians of peace across the galaxy. They are
Mhm.
politically involved now, which is a huge problem. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I
back
wanted
then
to
they
point
were
that
more
out.
of
That's a huge point about the past Jedi.
Yeah.
versus what
they
we
were
know.
protectors
Yes.
more than anything.
So when you say the might of the Jedi Order, I mean, and Republic, we're talking. The scope of this is insane because you have not just the Jedi are a part of the Republic. It's not like that. It's two groups, like huge groups of people. Sorry, I get
Mhm.
excited because man, the Sith are badass.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is only 12 people survived at the end. Ajunta Paul was one of them, right? And what happened was they were exiled, and because the Jedi didn't know what to do with them, they just sent them off into space. And they were led by someone, I don't remember who. I think it's Zozan, but it could be Sorzu Sin. Random names. But they were led to Korriban, where they met with the Sith, right? And they were welcomed until Ajunta Paul was like, I don't know about this. I think we could do better. And that started its own civil war on Korriban.
On Korriban, yep.
Where they were able to get more people, even Sith people, to join their side, and they ended up winning, right? So that's where the term Lords of the Sith come from. Lords of the Sith not being a Sith Lord, but being a Lord over the Sith. So Ajunta Paul was like very big. Up until he wasn't even mentioned in KOTOR. He was.
Yes.
In
yes.
KOTOR. Yeah, not SOTOR.
Not SOTOR.
Not SOTOR. KOTOR.
And even then, like his whole once he died, and you see it in KOTOR, he talks about how he had been, obviously he died, but he dabbled in sorcery, so he had been living and seeing all that had happened through the Sith, and realized that what he had done caused all of this infighting, right? And even the very first Sith Lord was redeemed. Isn't that crazy?
Well, I think the common misconception with Sith and Jedi is good and evil.
Yep,
because it's not.
But that's not what it is.
It's not that simple.
It's two sides that see a different way to use the Force.
And unfortunately, there's no such thing. I think, and we equate this to today. You're either red or blue, and if you're in the middle in a libertarian, you can't make a decision. Like, no, like you can't look at it in only the Sith deal in absolutes. I'm sorry, Obi-Wan, but do we need to go through the list of your absolutes that you've said that is canonically in the movies? Sorry. But no, you're exactly right. Cam, I know, Kylo. I keep going back to this Kylo thing because I feel like they did miss out on an opportunity to tie in some things, and I say that because they touched on the whole influencing remotely, right? I was every voice in your head, blah, blah, blah. We know from Expanded Universe, this is a thing. We know they can communicate. They, Sith ghosts, what have you, they can communicate. We know Force ghosts can. What a blown opportunity. But I want to come back to ask you more about this, because I think how would you have done that one bit differently, would you have thought that maybe it would be better for them to explore that? Or do you think it's a good stick a pin in it and revisit it like the other stuff? So this whole communicating across the galaxy, force, whatever, I've been every voice in your head. How do you reconcile that in your eyes? How would you have done that differently? Or do you think we should go back and revisit it like we did with the Clone Wars piece?
I mean, unfortunately, since it's what we got, I think that would be the best way that they could maybe redeem that. They might be able to redeem Kylo's character in a way, or make his, because clearly what they showed with him, turning back to Ben, is he was just conflicted, which I think some of his issue, because he thought he was having to continue this legacy when he's talking to the helmet in the movie. I'm like, you don't know it. Did your mother, father, uncle, did they not tell you that your grandfather? Yes, he was a horrible person when he was Vader, but he was redeemed by your uncle.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't any vision, right? But anyways, like I would have liked to have seen an 8 them, or even in 9 when Palpatine tells him that, maybe Kylo recall that when he's, I don't know, sitting in his TIE fighter or something. Show how he was manipulated. Show how he was dealing with these conflicting thoughts of like, because clearly he didn't feel like what he was doing was correct, and I would have liked to have seen them show the conflicting emotions he had. Honestly, show him dealing with the aftermath of him destroying Luke's temple and killing all the students, and show that. Like, give depth to his character. Well, give depth to any character in the sequel trilogy. That'd be a great challenge for Lucasfilm. But I mean, just give us something.
That's a great point, dude.
I mean, people would watch. I think if you did something like that with like an animated Luke's Jedi Academy, but it's really heavily like the kid focused, which would be tough as a Luke fan. But really show that, because I mean, when in the book that I read, the one that's supposed to make episode 9 better, which is false, Luke, and I can't remember, Luke and Lando, when they go, like, Kylo is in charge of the temple, like, while he's gone, essentially, like, over the students. So he's special. And it would have been, if there's any sequel trilogy character I'd want to see, I'd like to see them do a animated downfall of Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Add the depth.
Yeah. I really think of it in terms of what you were saying about the story writing and calling back to things. And sorry, we got a couple of folks. What's up? I don't know if people are still on, but hi. No, you're absolutely right. When we get these things that are not explained, and you can go back and read the books, and some of it may be touched on, maybe explained, maybe not. And how do we reconcile some of that? We don't. We're left with just these shows like we do, trying to imagine filling in the gaps until they do. And we hope they fill it. Go ahead, man.
Well, because like I said earlier, what I hope the Acolyte does is they, establish what has happened, right? They say events that have happened. Like, they don't really need to go in depth in that moment because it's not pertinent to the story. What Palpatine says to Kylo in Rise of Skywalker is a pertinent part of the story. Like, there could have been moments where, after Kylo talks to him, he goes and recalls when Vader's voice that Palpatine's projecting to him is telling him, "I need you to carry on my legacy." It's just something like that, because it's pertinent to the story at the time, and we hadn't gotten anything up from him up at that point, and it would have been the time to maybe throw that in. Which I know, Zane, did you say there's like some JJ Rise of Skywalker cut that they cut down or something like that in the
after JJ finished with Rise of Skywalker, Disney did cut out even more time than what they required of him.
They'd given up by that point, I guess. But that, like, stuff that's pertinent to the story, such as the manipulation of Kylo Ren. Now, Rose isn't pertinent to the story, but like showing the downfall of Kylo Ren would have been good to see. It would have.
This is where I say Disney's a liar mouth. We don't have content. The very fact that you brought up, I was all the voices in your head, means that you just drew from the Legends stuff. Again, we've never, I don't think, stated that, but we've talked about Exar Kun's my favorite to talk about in the because he was able to, through the Force, being a Force ghost, convince Luke's students, some of his students, and Luke had to fight him in a like. So don't tell me you don't have content, and don't tell me you ain't using the content, because all you did was paraphrase. You used AI. And then you paraphrase what AI told you.
Honestly, they need to stick to the content and quit trying to appease a foreign market.
Man, because, money. What's your motivation?
Yeah. I mean,
storytelling? That was Lucas's motivation.
Yeah.
Motivations on storytelling.
Do we get to tell George, you became the very thing you swore to protect? Like, is this where we say that? Because we know we've thought that, and other people have said it.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, he sold the rights off. I mean, there are certain rights he kept.
I still say he's mad about some of the storytelling. He has to be. It's his baby.
Yeah. Especially with some of these characters. I mean, Kylo Ren, there were so many great characters that came into that trilogy that they did nothing with.
What did we show on the thing last week? How they missed out. We showed that tweet from Mark Hamill last week where they had the picture in the Falcon with everyone. And it's like, what?
Pull up that man's Twitter account.
Yeah, you missed the opportunity, man. You wanted to sell, you screwed it. You screwed up. But I think to your point, Cam, I don't know that they care. I really don't.
They don't care, man. It's just it's a IP that they want to make money off of. There's nobody in that writer's room. Filoni may care, but his voice doesn't matter. There's nobody in that writer's room that cares. Disney, as a whole, as a company, has made it clear what their objective is, and Hollywood in general has made it what their clear objective is in terms of making content. And I think it's disrespectful to AI, man. I think AI probably could have made something better than the sequel trilogy, honestly. That's why when they were having this writer's strike, I'm like, dude, honestly, there's like, if we're thinking about it, dude, there's no good movies. I remember when my wife and I used to be able to go to the movie back when we were in college, just on a random Wednesday and see something, and I'd be like, that was pretty good, man.
All right, listen, I watched Arthur the King this weekend. It was really good. I mean, it's Mark Wahlberg, but the dog was cool. It was good.
Yeah, like there's nothing good. I'm like, why are y'all striking, man? I understand I understand why they're striking. But like, let's give AI a chance, man.
That's right, they're redoing another one, The Fall Guy. It's coming out. You know, just keep redoing shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
Debbie's movie. She was all mad about they're supposed to be redoing.
That's because there's no original thought anymore.
So we know, and we're not stupid. Like, we know George pulled from all sorts of mythos for his stories. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Very original character development. But we know those characters. I think I love I always go back to Freddie Prinze Jr., but he talks about Cephasus and Maul, and this is who he is. And if you understand mythology, you know this is the character, and he's never gonna win. I'm gonna get emotional, which is why that one scene and freaking where Kenobi and him face off for the last time is so heartbreaking, because for him, he knew what his destiny was. He just wanted to know, was it true? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go watch that. Just look it up. Obi-Wan and Maul's last scene. Really good. storytelling, but who wrote those? Who wrote all of those rebels or not rebel? Yeah, rebels.
I think that was still before it went over to Disney.
Was it? Yeah, it
Rebels?
was. Was
Rebels,
it
I thought was
Rebels
the first thing that was made
Yeah,
after.
because
Maybe it was.
it was a Disney XD show. So
Oh, you're right.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
right. I was thinking of that terrible thing they made, Resistance. That was terrible. No, it
Ugh.
was in Rebels. You're right.
Don't mention
Dana,
Resistance.
what do you want to see from the Sith, man? What do you want to see?
I want to see. I truly believe Sith are the most human of any characters in the series. I know Luke is a favorite for many reasons, but his struggle is key in his father's saving. Does that make sense? Like his own struggle with his place in the galaxy, his struggle with his love for his father, his struggle for his hate that he started to develop for the Emperor, all of those things. I want to see that, but I want to see how it impacts an individual. And I don't like how they did it with Anakin. I don't. I don't think they capitalized on it in the best way they could. It is tragic to see Anakin Skywalker after he destroyed all the separatist leadership on Mustafar. That one scene, I know, a dumbass tear in his eye, but that is tragic because at that moment, that's the first time we see. Oh no, second time we see the Sith eyes. No, first time we see the Sith eyes is on Mustafar, and then the very next time we see it, he's still on Mustafar, but now he's looking out above, at his burning world. It was a missed opportunity, because a person losing, a person losing all they are, that's hard to put on screen, but it's been done before. I don't think they did it right. I want to see that. I want to see a person so broken, so much in pain that you understand why there was no other way. I didn't feel that when Anakin turned. I didn't feel that he really felt there was. I mean, he felt there was no other way. But me as the viewer, I thought there surely has got to be another. This is dumb. Don't do that. I want to see that times 10. I want to see the real fall of a person. And maybe there isn't redemption. Cam, you've touched on that in the shows before. Maybe there isn't. And you know what? There are people in this world like that. There are people you probably know that maybe on one hand they put on a good show, but man, they ain't no redemption. I mean, it's not my call, right? I'm not, almighty or whatever, but that's what I want to see, man. I hope that made some sense. I want to see a fall that you can relate to and understand why we shouldn't continue down the fallen path. There's nothing within Vader's story for me. I have a car. I'm darn you. I call you on my cell phone. It says Lord Vader. I'm not joking. Everyone at Discount Tire, hey dude, check us out. When you call us, it says Lord Vader. Yeah, I know. But if this was a person who fell and was never redeemed, I don't think I would be Lord Vader. The redemption is what makes him me. That's huge. But the non-redemption is what I want to see, because I think every person can relate to feeling not redeemable. And in the end, seeing someone not redeemed, I think would have the opposite effect on somebody. That's deep and huge, but you asked for it, Cameron.
Oh,
That's what I want to see.
I agree with you, man. I think that'd be awesome. I'm not optimistic, but I hope they can pull it off, because I think they would. I think even with the shitty story that they went with in The Last Jedi, I think it would have been cool to see, when they meet on that planet, like Kylo like tell Luke like you gave up on me, man. Like some like you know like you didn't even ask, like didn't even hesitate. Like you ignite the lightsaber. Like that would have been relatable.
Can we get that
And
in an adult version?
Mm-hmm.
We're already getting a little more gritty with a
Yep.
couple of the shows. Would you agree, Cam?
Even
Something
Bad
a
Batch is a
more-
little grittier than what they've been putting out.
yeah. Well, I think they realize that maybe they're starting to realize that who their audience actually is that watches these shows. So adults that pay for the Disney Plus subscription that their kids use.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, I think that'd be great. I hope. I'm not optimistic, but hopefully the Acolyte can give us something, man. Tales of the Empire would be good. Hopefully.
I hope so. We have let me see. I'm going to play a video here in a moment. Not this moment, but here in a moment. But I need to find it. So this has been really good. There's so much I think we'll be able to touch on more as we get into Bane and Rule of Two and stuff next week. Come on. Show me money. So way back, I don't even know. Like some of y'all may have been like 2 years old. There was a Star Wars on Cinemax, and they were going to play back to back the first 6 movies. It was before Rise of Skywalker, all this, or all the other ones came out. And the advertisement was Coldplay, Lights Will Guide You, and it was put together all this montage with Anakin. From Anakin to Vader, and it was insane. Like if you love Vader, this is I'm trying to locate it so I can share it real quick, because it's one of the most incredible thing. And I'm not even a Coldplay fan. Like that song's ridiculous, but yeah. If you guys find it, let me know. Zane, go get it. Yeah, I appreciate that question, Cam. I think we can all agree that it's always great to feel good at the end of a movie. What made Empire so striking emotionally was that where was the hope? We just had a new hope. And it was amazing, and it was a ride. Holy crap! We had lightsabers, we had Jedi starfighters, we had freaking blown up a Death Star and go kill count 300,000. But that next one wasn't like that, and people are drawn. Humans are drawn to the story of struggle. Name a movie where there isn't a struggle, right? I mean, a story, there isn't a struggle. It's all about struggle. Has anyone found that? Did you find that, Zane?
Almost there.
I know you love Roleplay. I don't know why it's not in your playlist.
Working hard, man.
Okay.
Kat, what when it comes to Sith and your historical repertoire, what is it about the Sith that you feel would be important for anyone casually listening? What is it about the Sith that is important to know?
They're human. I mean, ultimately, if you think about humanity,
yeah,
the Sith, they know they're flawed. They all know they're flawed. They know that they're vain. They know that they're greedy. They know that they're power hungry. They acknowledge that, hey, these are my flaws. They don't try and hide it. They're not masking. They are what all of us ultimately wishes we could be. I mean, how many times have you wanted to just been like, I'm having just like the worst day ever. But people are like, hey, how's it going, Dana? And you're like, oh, I'm great.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you're right. Today, I won't go into too much detail, but our family lost somebody today. And I only met the individual a couple of times, but it's tough. And when you look at Jedi, no, uh, rejoice in the loss that they're now one with the Force. Yes, that's great to say. But Anakin grieved his mother. Okay, humans grieve loss. Humans have attachment. Humans, as you said, are very well represented by the Sith. Very well represented the feelings that we have. Very representative of the motivations that humans can encounter. I just don't know that walling yourself off from connection and emotion is healthy. I don't think it ultimately led to the demise of the Jedi. I mean,
with the Jedi, they don't. Like, you see the attachments. You see it happening all the time.
with
So
you see
they're
it,
literally living a lie.
but they're flapping their gums some other way. Hypocritical, man.
Yeah, the Jedi are the highest form of hypocrisy.
All right. We got this, y'all. Thank you, Zane. I'm going to play it. I didn't even look, so I hope it's the right one.
It looks like it.
We'll find out.
I saw the
Before I do,
original.
hold on. Before I do, have you guys seen this? Have you seen this, Cam?
It was before my time, man.
It's been a long time. I think I may have seen it.
I think it was like
You showed me.
2006 when it came out. But yeah,
I remember you showing me the YouTube video.
of course I
Back in
showed
Apollo.
you this because you're my son.
I mean, I have merch from the 97 movie launch. I mean,
Good for you.
I probably saw it.
I pirated Pod Racer. I know. Like it was
Whoa.
amazing. Whoa.
Piracy is not
Hey,
a victim crime.
Hey,
We do not condone that.
No,
hey,
we
that's
do
fixing to
not.
become more common now, man. Let me tell y'all.
It's about to be.
Tell ya. Oh yeah, because you don't own your games anymore, man.
If you're
Man,
emulating your game, you must.
How
own it.
crazy is that? That's a whole nother show. Like not TSD show. We're gonna play this. Are we sharing this yet? No. Am I sharing?
No.
Not yet.
Why isn't this working? Oh,
There you go.
there we go.
Yeah, it
How do
should
I
be
make
an
it bigger?
HD
Can you make it
video.
bigger?
Have you tried hitting full screen?
Oh no! Have we tried hitting? Shut up. You're lucky you're related to me. All right, here we go, folks. Fix You by Coldplay. It was a Cinemax running them all for the first time ever, back to back to back in HD. Oh yeah, this was a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh wait, so if I click play on the screen,
You
that's
might
not
want to
gonna
click
work. I gotta
play.
push play on.
Yeah.
When you try your best,
You got
but
audio?
don't succeed.
Good. Cam, I'm interested.
When
See how you
get
feel about
what
this.
you want, but not what you need. When you feel so tired, but you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse.
We're probably gonna get bopped for this too, Cat.
And the tears come streaming
Those of you
down
watching
your
live, you'll get to see it. All two of you.
face. When you lose something you can't replace. When you love someone but it goes to waste. Could it be worse? Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones. And I will try to fix you. lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.
I mean, I kind of feel like they showed more of 1, 2, and of 4, 5, and 6 than they did of like 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty
You know,
cool.
like I get what they were trying to do, but I'm like, I feel like you missed some parts.
I think they were mostly appealing to that older audience at that point.
Oh,
Yeah.
probably.
Because I think Zane, you were 2 at the time that came out.
Around that age.
Yeah. So, but you know, seeing that, I got real hyped to watch the first 3 again, and I did, and it was awesome. Of course, I own all of them. I think we collectively could agree, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there just needs to be a little more relatability to some of the characters. You know, Cam, you've mentioned it. It's hard to relate to Rey. It really is. It's hard to relate to Kylo in the sense of I'm trying to live out my grandfather who was already redeemed, and then, but like my uncle tried to kill. Like I can't relate to that. I just can't. I can relate to being, you know, a guy in the middle of nowhere with adventure on his mind, Luke Skywalker, right? I can relate to Anakin, who, you know, lost someone close to him, had a close friend that he felt maybe didn't quite believe in him the way that he believed in himself, but then also looked up to him. And we've all had those people. Cameron, you say it all the time, relatability in those characters. So what do we want? I think we talk it to death. We want relatability in characters. We want humanization of characters. We want to understand wholly that these are people, alien species, whatever. These are folks that go through shit, and we as the story receivers have to be able to relate, or we're not gonna buy the merchandise or watch the movie. We keep going back to the Acolyte. We really hope there's going to be a little of this at least in the Acolyte. We talked earlier on. Go ahead. Ahsoka.
We started to get a little bit more of it in Ahsoka, a little bit more relatability.
Yeah.
So maybe someone's finally realizing, like, hey, why aren't people binging these the way that they used to binge the old stuff? Well, maybe because your character creation sucks.
Well, and let's not talk about the pacing of Ahsoka. That was the slowest show ever. Yeah. I appreciate how you were being intentional about delivery of these lines, but come on, man. It was slow. And now I feel like I'm just complaining. But what are you going to do,
man?
Preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
They should have done it animated, man. I really... Sabine was probably my least favorite. And I loved her in Rebels, but she was my least favorite character in Ahsoka. Which I understand why they're all in a boo-hooey, dark mood. You know, like I get it, but it's just like, man, can people smile? Like, can we see some emotion on people's faces? Like, is that all?
Yeah. I love Darth Zane's comments here, the last 2. I wonder if you're unable to relate because you're not letting yourself relate. People are so used to legends and the stories that they already had that when something new is thrown at them, maybe subconsciously people don't want to relate because it's not something they're used to. I would agree to a point because it is new. However, we've talked on the show quite a bit about I wasn't an orphan. I wasn't someone who magically just had a bunch of skills. I just have a hard time. I love Daisy Ridley. My God, I've written an article Fur, you know this. But I think there's a lot of potential for that character still. It's just hard to relate. Kylo Ren, again, I had a hard time relating. I love him, and I've done a whole article on him too, and a show on him where I gave high praises for some of the bits of the story arc. I do like his father-son relationship or lack thereof in parts. I can relate to some of that. In parts. So I do agree to an extent, David. But for me, it really, I gave it a shot. I really did. And still to this day, because I do defend some things in those. But if we're looking at from a Sith point of view, then we have to hope for something bigger on the scale of this is what the Sith are. It just I'm going to circle back to you again, Cam. You know, in the stories of Hobbit or whatever, like there are these bits where you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. What is that shit? And you want to go back and learn it. You've piqued my interest. I want to know. And will you be able to? Will we be able to get that? I hope so. And we keep hoping for Acolyte, and we talked that one to death too.
I mean, I would love to relate to any new Star Wars content because, I mean, you know, when Zane and I were fortunate enough to have kids, like they're gonna want to watch stuff that's probably in better quality than the original, maybe even the prequels, depending upon how far they go. And it's like I'd love for them to have good, fun characters to relate to, but if they're gonna keep putting out shitty writing and shitty characters, not the people that play them. They are not shitty characters.
It's just it's the writing.
Yeah, I mean, if they do good writing, it fixes everything. But they have not shown a track. They've shown track records of certain parts, episodes, sequences.
Well,
they just can't.
For me, it was like Finn and Poe had great writing, but it was supposed to be about Rey and Kylo. You know, it's like, wait a minute, you have these two characters that, like, you had so much potential to do whatever with the two of them.
Oh, yeah.
Their writing was great for those characters. And they were relatable characters, once again.
At first, I would agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last week, we really jumped on that, killing about Finn. You could have had done so much with Finn alone. And that relationship with Rey, and you just screwed it up, guys. Again, Pete's sake.
They took the wrong side of the coin, man. There was a coin flipper where they could have gone with after Force Awakens, and Force Awakens was all right, but the stuff that comes after, it's not.
It was a New Hope remaster.
It's just
pretty okay.
It's just not even worth watching because you're like, I know the
so
garbage that comes after it.
I have no reason to ask this question just to piss people off. So we saw in Force Awakens the super weapon, which was a planet, an ice planet called Ilium, which was actually they did some that was in canon. It was canon, and I think it was taken out of canon and then it was put back in canon. But they did not Sinar Fleet. Someone was out. There was a shipyard, and so they built ships and stuff there too. You see that in Galaxy at War. What was that game? That RTS?
Empire at War.
Empire at War. Did you ever play that, Cam?
It's fun.
Oh my god. So you had what you build a super. So when they fired this weapon and destroyed Coruscant, everything that we knew to be, to me, it was almost symbolic, is what I'm trying to say.
Let the past die, man.
The
that was the end of the
writers
Republic.
were trying to kill more. Let the past die. Kill it if you have to. Like, there's so much in this show that I felt was pointed at me as a past fan, and that maybe that's a little narcissistic, but there's a lot. You destroyed all the stuff that I loved as being core worlds and who ran the whole government and everything. You've destroyed another planet in Ilum, which was from the past as well. You tell me throughout, let the past die. I got a bad feeling about this, that you guys are trying to subconsciously tell
He
us.
said the line.
Just, yeah.
Dude, that was
what do you
JJ's point, man. He wanted to capture the original trilogy vibe for his movie and second movie
with
and take
zero thought as to future, right? Isn't that what we?
yeah. There's no thought out plan.
Okay,
and
but so was A New Hope. He made that because he didn't know the others would get made, right? So it's possible to come back with a badass movie for number 2. We didn't get that. We
you
got
gotta care. You gotta care and actually like the thing that you're making and have a plan for characters, and doing a trilogy that was directed by 3 different people and those people aren't in the writing room together just makes absolutely
it is amazing to me.
no sense. Because if we handled our everyday work like those imbeciles at Lucasfilm have handled their $4.5 billion investment, we would have got fired 8 years ago, maybe 9. But
Yeah.
you can't, because then you would admit that you effed up, right? Like they're just they don't care, man.
Listen,
They're
you can't. You release a new Luke Skywalker action figure tomorrow.
I'm buying it.
You can't keep it on the shelves. And I'm not being a jerk here, guys. Look, you cannot keep a Darth Vader, a Luke Skywalker action figure on the shelves. These characters are 40 years old. Okay, 40 years old, and you can't keep them on the shelves. Rey,
Ain't
I
nobody
can
buying
go
that,
to
man.
Walmart right now and buy a Rey action figure. Nothing against you, Daisy. All about what they did to you. I could find a Princess Leia Boshi bust, Lego bust. There are a couple around I've seen, but I see way more Rexes out there and Mandos than I do Leia. So it's not about male female. It's about the character development and relatability and writing. Am I wrong? So no, I know I'm not wrong. I'm not even going to say that. I know I'm not wrong. So that's why you can judge success based on sales. This is what we do. Success based on sales. What sold during this last one? It wasn't Rey, and it wasn't Poe, and it wasn't Finn. No.
Dude.
Old action figures outsold new action figures. Any re-release, Black Series, whatever, of old characters outsold the new characters. That's gotta hurt financially. I don't understand why it's not hurting them to the point of correcting their error and setting that ship straight, unless Cam is right and they just hate us.
No, they hate us. Dude, that last command thing that you sent, you or Zane sent from the Hasbro thing that I think we determined it was legit. That thing's selling for almost $100. 3 of those characters aren't even canon.
They're not even canon.
Dude, you go to your local Barnes & Noble, they've got the Legends books on the bottom shelf of the Star Wars section, and you can't find any of them. But you could find any new canon book you want to find up there. Dude, they don't care, man. They don't care. And it sucks because nothing's going to happen until, I've said it before, nothing's going to happen until we stop paying them for it. But we got the hope. We're like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi, man. We're hoping for something good. But I'm going to end up old and cranky like Jake Skywalker.
The attention to detail.
I still haven't seen 9.
Really?
Are you for
Really?
real? So when I was like all the cultish stuff, you had no idea what I was talking about? Surely you know what I was talking about. No.
Honestly?
Well, I mean, I knew what you were talking about. I knew what you were talking about because I'd seen other things talking about it.
Oh.
But
are you
I hate
what?
to say it, I kind of put my money where my opinion is.
Okay,
And I was
good.
like,
Do you have a Disney Plus subscription?
oh yeah, I mean I can totally watch it now. I
Just watch.
Yeah, do not watch it.
We want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, But that's the whole thing is like I was so disappointed with the way that 7 and 8 went that I'm like, why am I going to sit in a theater and watch this with crappy popcorn and loud people when it's going to be trash?
Oh, but
I
Kat,
watched it 3 times in the theaters.
dude, you
I'm
missed
so sorry.
you missed like the greatest part. You missed all the booze in my theater when
Oh
you said
my
Ray
goodness.
Skywalker. That was a
Well, you know,
an
I mean,
all-timer moment.
if I turn it into a drinking game, I'm going to get alcohol poisoning.
Oh no, yeah,
And they'll
no,
probably put me on a list that I'm not allowed back in.
no. Dana
Um,
Dana was like wanting to like do a whole walkthrough of them, and I told him I was like, I'll do it for the pod, man, but I'm gonna have to send a bill for all the alcohol I'm gonna have to consume for 8 times.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Long
goodness.
one.
Because I mean, but I mean, that's really the point. Is our hope? We're hate watching things, and then they're continuing to make them thinking that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's a shame that David has dropped off. Darth Zane, David Furr over at Cantina Happy Hour, MCU Mondays. It's a shame he's dropped off because I think that's a good point to what he was saying. That sometimes I think we have these expectations. We already have this history with the story, and anything outside of the expectation is just it's not good enough. And I get that. Like I read those books and I was like, what do you mean you're gonna kill Chewbacca with a freaking moon? Like what? Huh?
Well,
That's
I mean,
dumb. But
my
I
hope-
cried because they
My
built
hope
it
was
up.
really they were going to get beyond the Skywalkers.
Mm.
That was really my hope. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know who you
when I
are.
wa-
That's not a thing.
When I watched 7, I was like, okay, are we getting away from them? Oh no, okay.
Well, hold
Let
on.
me watch-
You're not a fan of the Skywalkers, or you think their time is
think this-
done?
I think their time is done. I think we want to hear other stories, and it's time to get off the Skywalker train.
Well, Kat, I've got great news for you. You're getting that.
Well, yeah.
You're getting that. They're all dead.
There ain't a one
Well,
left.
You know,
There's not
honestly,
a one left, brother.
they'll find another one.
That
Um,
hurt. Like at the end, like when I realized that, Cameron, that there is no more and to David's point, like in you, Kat, we grew up with this stuff of Luke being this person, this persona, not just a person.
But
Like
like,
a
give me some Mara Jade. Give me not a Skywalker.
Yep. You and Deb both, man. Let's do it. We have clamored about this. Please give us that. But we're not going to get it now.
No.
Luke Skywalker
No,
can't
the
have attachments.
Skywalkers are dead.
Yeah.
Dead.
Good.
They're all dead.
Well, I mean, you know, which means they're either going to end the franchise or they're going to have to take it another direction, which is it looks like they're going the
Well.
other direction. They're heading into the Acolytes.
Cat, we have the world between worlds now, so anything goes.
Well,
This
I mean,
is
I know we've
the
got
multiverse.
multiverse. It's fine. Like,
No.
you know, it's
we
fine.
do not have the multiverse. That is
Done
not
with
how.
Crap.
I refuse to believe that is how the world between worlds works.
Look, did
That's how
I
they're
like it?
introducing
Yes.
legends.
I liked it when you see Anakin and Ahsoka back together, and this is going like I like that, but you didn't have to use the in between. And I know why you did it because of the Clone War, or Rebels, because of, I get all that, but did you have to do it that way? I felt like it was a cop out. It's the same shit that every other universe under your umbrella is doing. And now DC's doing it. And now everybody I'm just done with that storyline for like 5 years. That's what we've had. I'm just done with it.
Couldn't let Ahsoka
That's how
die,
they
man.
fix bad writing.
Yeah, Ahsoka should have died already. She ain't that good. Sorry. I like Ahsoka. I don't know if I took you, son, but I know I took Madison to see the Clone Wars movie, animated movie when it came out. I don't think
No, you didn't, but
I don't know. You may not even
Blu-ray.
alive. I don't even know when that was. But
That's a win for Zane. That's
that's
a
a
win
win.
for Zane.
I will say, I was like, crap, and now they're gonna have a
Zero the
whole
Hutt.
series on this thing. Are you kidding me? I was not happy about it, and but I watched it. This is what hate watching, right? Like I don't want to hate watch. I don't think any of us do. We want to watch it as open-minded as we can be, right, Cam? As open-minded as we can
Hey,
be.
no, I agree with you, man. But if I'm paying for it and it's
Yeah.
shit, it's shit.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
I mean, like
Yeah.
Fallout, fantastic show.
No,
I
I
watched
haven't watched it.
Woods and I watched like 5 episodes on Sunday.
Are you serious? Is that good?
Oh, I finished the whole series already. Yeah, I finished
Yeah.
it in like a day and a half.
After Rings of Power, wasn't optimistic, but I went into it because I like Fallout and they have an easier. They don't have a legacy character, those type of things. But it was pretty damn good. It was
I know
good.
nothing about the story. I want to, because when everyone else loves it. Like Last of Us. I never played that movie. Played that game. I watched the movie. It was fantastic. Or watched the series. I thought it was good. But I haven't played the game, so I don't even know. Whatever. Like, is it
Fallout? Even if you didn't play the game, I think you'd still be able to enjoy it.
Yeah. It doesn't have anything directly tied to any of the games, other than it might name drop certain events that are shared.
And the characters, I assume, or
Fallout series takes place
Just
at
generic
different
vault
locations
dwellers.
every single other
Yeah.
game. Right?
okay. See, I don't.
So you
even
can
know.
pick a random game and enjoy it.
I would argue it would make you want to learn more about the lore and maybe
Oh,
it's so
good.
dabble into a game. Like I
Mhm.
think you and Charlotte that would be a good show to watch. Recommend.
So, normally we don't watch video game shows, but I would absolutely look at that. We don't watch a lot of sci-fi stuff. So, like when you look at, like we watch Game of Thrones and the new one, the show
House of Dragon.
Yeah, I haven't watched the new. Did they do a second season of that already, or they're about to?
I think
Coming
they're about
out in
to.
June,
About
man.
to.
It's gonna be awesome.
We just I love that stuff, and she'll partake, but not.
Hey, it's pretty gory, so if that's not her thing, I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, not into the blood and guts thing.
You might
But
have to.
I mean, I'll watch it. I mean, is it like The Boys or that?
No, it's not as bad as The Boys.
Okay.
I'd say it's a little bit. It's like a funnier version of The Walking Dead.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, we watched The
good.
Walking Dead, so sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so very kind of similar-ish to The Walking Dead, but kind of funnier.
God, I know that's not this show, but man, that's another one. It just it took a turn at some point, and I didn't even finish the series. Like it was that bad.
I went back and finished it just because I needed to. I'm a completionist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never finished the second part of the last season. That last whatever.
I
episode.
just finished it because I've kind of fallen off of watching it. Same thing, like at some point the writing just went weird, but it kind of started to get a little bit better towards the last couple seasons.
So there's going to be a new movie, right, with Rick and all that, and Michonne and all that.
I think they're all getting their spin-off series where somehow Daryl's in Paris.
Jesus.
Oh my god. Okay.
Dana, you want to know what the Fallout series had that most shows have going for it? People that made it were fans of the lore. They played the game. The actors, the actresses, they played the games. They read stuff. The creators, the producers, they read.
Listen,
stuff.
Star Wars fans.
What a concept, man! Well, I mean,
We're
who would have thought that would be a prerequisite? You know what I'm saying?
We
Yeah,
can be
Todd
very
Howard,
mean,
but, man, it's-
okay? Star Wars fans can be very mean, but we can also be very caring and very forgiving. Okay? I believe that. I believe that had there been some badass something for you, Cam, in the last one, it would have been tolerable and palatable. But the way everything happened, it was not for you. And
Killed my
not
hero, man. There was no forgiveness.
so yes. So there are people that, I saw plenty of it when they did what they did to Leia. People got pissed. Listen, you want to talk Disney princess? Leia was never a Disney princess. She was a princess, but she would whoop your ass. Like I thought she was a great and Kat, you could attest to this, a great role model for a young woman growing up, that you can be like large, in charge, doesn't mean that you're that, misogynistic word, the bitch. Like you're just you're freaking running shit. Sorry.
You're fragile. You're fragile like a bomb. It's fine.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I hope my wife's not. No, we don't have anyone watching at the moment. But
I
yeah,
wish she would have died in space, man. When she flew back into that spaceship, I was
okay,
just,
Mary
okay,
Poppins.
hold up.
oh my god.
Hold up. Did it
Was-
look stupid? 100%.
That's not a
100%.
question.
When I saw it happen, I literally said, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all." Like that's, that's all I thought of was freaking MCU. So I get that, but and here's the huge but: if you understand the Force well enough to know you can do that, because Luke did that when his TIE fighter exploded within one of those old books that are no longer canon. You create a force bubble-ish around you so you can survive, and then you force pull yourself. What they did, though, Cameron, I agree, looked stupid. That's not how I ever imagined that playing out. Did I imagine that it was possible? Yes. Did I imagine, because I'd seen it done before in the books? Did I even used it myself in the Sith Dominion roleplay stuff. But yeah, they made that look stupid. You telling me with all this technology you couldn't make that look better? It was worse than Neo flying at the end of freaking Matrix.
See, but again, Dana, Luke in that book was a established force wielding user. They showed us nothing in 7 that Leia was even tapping into.
Nah, they didn't even give us that till the last movie.
No.
Right? Yeah.
No, she's just like flung into space and then pulls her. Like there's nothing there, and even when they try to explain the reason she didn't finish her Jedi training, it's stupid. Like I
And unless you read those books, unless you knew, you're right. Like that,
ain't nobody reading that garbage.
the whole fandom, seeing that is like, what the hell is this shit? Dana is like, and some of us are like, oh yeah, but that looks stupid. That's not how it was portrayed in the books. It's not the way that I think anyone that read this, not the Luke stuff, would have ever known it. So I get it, but it is possible. Force, commanding the Force, whatever you want to call it, you can survive for a short amount of time in space by protecting yourself.
I still don't know how I feel about the whole force projection thing.
But the force pull. So yeah, that's the thing. Oh, force projection with Luke.
Yeah, yeah, and like the Kylo Ray thing. I don't know
The saber. 100% bravo Sierra, man. Zane, you've got a lot of history with the older stuff as well. I can't think of a time when an object has been passed through. I can't think of it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means I can't think of a time they passed an object through the Force. And this is my problem also with the second one, when Luke comes in and gives the dice, the sabak dice, and she actually like touches it. Like, come on, man. Like, you're not actually gonna touch something, and then it disappears later when Kylo. That was dumb. That's not how the Force works. That's not how the Force works.
Yeah, even in like the games and things, it's not like if someone's trying to like direct you to something to find it, they're like using more like the power of suggestion. So you go and look in a crate. They're not like, look at my ghost and now it materializes.
Yes.
God, Ryan Johnson's just he's the worst.
I love that the consummate professional, Mark Hamill. We may not agree on a lot of things outside of his acting, but that's okay because he's a fantastic actor. 100% passionate about his character, characters plural he's portrayed, and the professional piece being, I think this is dumb, this is stupid. Luke would never do this, but I'm Luke and I will do what you tell me to do the best of my ability. That Mark Hamill, kudos, my friend. I
appreciate you.
I can't imagine. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I can't imagine. I gotta say this. We talk a lot about how it hurts us about our characters that we love and they get misused or abused, and how we know how he felt based on what he said. But I mean, do you think there's a lot of unsaid with him in this character? Honestly,
I think, and it's the same with Sam Witwer on a couple things with what Sam Witwer said about The Last Jedi. I think that I think they finally went to them and were like, y'all they got the tip, or we're coming after you with stuff.
yeah.
Because I feel like there's a lot more that could have been said. And honestly, I mean, it's kind of like us, kind of beating a dead horse at this point. Like, it's not going to change, but oh well.
Look, dude, they invested themselves in those characters, right? In the writers that wrote the stuff that is no longer like they invested themselves in understanding, talking to the other authors, making all this shit congruent and connecting and consistent. And that was huge for us reading that shit when we didn't have any movies. So F you guys that think like, oh, well, we have all this content. Fuck yeah. We didn't have it. We didn't have anything. We had comics, but it was between Dark Horse and then Marvel and then back to Dark, whoever. Like, no, we had no consistency in that part. But the books, all the books matched or pretty damn close because all those authors worked with each other. And I can't speak to anything past the Vong War. I started that, as I said. I just can't read it. It's too long of a series. But everything else all worked together, from Mara Jade to the Jason and the other kids and Ben and all the stuff. It all worked. And then you could even go back to the 6-book series between two different authors. And I talk about this one a lot with the Rogue Squadron series. Brilliantly written. All the characters just consistent, everything about them. Why? Because Stackpole and Alston talk to each other. This is what we need. We don't need Ryan Johnson doing one. We don't need J.J. Abrams doing one. Or if you are, talk about this shit, man. Because we know Lawrence Kasdan helped write and direct, right? He wasn't there when George wrote the original shit, but he was joined later, worked closely with George, came up with Empire, came up with ROTJ. So it can be done, Disney. Stop looking at this goddamn thing that we love so much as a fucking cash cow and look at it as something that can be cherished for generation after generation. I'm starting to get mad. I'll stop.
Let's go.
Let's go. Gary, look, listen. I'm not trying to be an ass here. It can be carried. I have a third generation fan in my son. 3 generations of people love Star Wars. Why can't we make it a 4th? If you're just depending on children, like you continue to do, you're not going to make it, man. Because children and even 20-year-olds, a lot of them don't have jobs. So how are they going to buy the shit? You're missing out on the fans that actually make a living and can buy the shit. If that's what you want, is the cash cow, then give us what we want, which is good, enriching stories to our lives, enriching stories to our communities, enriching stories that we can take with us and live out the rest of our lives, like Cam does with Luke. He loves Luke, and he will do what you've written Luke to be up until a specific point where he's no longer that Luke.
I'm not interested.
Again, you're right, Cam. We don't want to beat a dead horse here, but you guys, Lucas, have given up to have yielded to, Lucasfilm has yielded to Disney's cash cow model. And we're not going to get the content I think we want if that's the model they continue to follow. And I'm done. Sorry.
Dana. Hopeful though, Acolyte's gonna be awesome, and then we're gonna get Keanu Reeves as
Heralds
Darth
of the
Revan,
Empire.
Keanu Reeves teased.
Yeah, we gotta get Keanu Reeves as Darth Revan, man. I'll forgive 25%.
So let's recap.
I thought you said 30%.
We've already been on 2 hours almost. I gotta stop this. Wait, where are you at? What were you gonna say? I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead. Zane?
Oh, Cam said 30%. I thought last time.
I've moved down 25.
Well,
Maybe 50 after Sonic 3 comes out and he's Shadow the Hedgehog, which is just absolutely
Oh.
phenomenal. That we gotta give a hand clap for that, man. That was just
for a good video game series.
exactly.
Many of those.
So we talked about Jedi Civil War, Dark Jedi, regular Jedi, all that fun stuff. We talked about the impact that had on Galaxy. We talked about Sith. We talked about Korriban. Korriban, we didn't talk enough about. It's just there's so much on that stuff that was written that is no longer canon, but is awesome. We talked about the Sith people, and we talked a little bit about Lost Tribe. Were you guys able to get those books?
Yeah, I have them.
I have a few of them.
Yeah, they're good. They're really good. So I would suggest that as reading. For those of you watching or listening, playing along at home, Lost Tribe books, really good. And we talked about Jutapal, which was huge and extremely divisive within the Jedi Order, but then even divisive within the Sith Order. It's just divisive wherever he goes. I've talked a little bit about some other things that was touched on Bane, but next episode is where we kind of jump into the Rule of Two, what caused that, and where that looks to be heading. And then the last episode on this 3-episode series, we'll be talking about what we got with Palpatine, and then moving forward into what we got with Palpatine, because somehow Palpatine returned. Can't we just...
Calling in sick. I can't.
I will say, gosh, I sure do hope this works out. We were supposed to have a guest tonight. They were not able to make it, but they are right now in Disney Springs, or maybe actually it's almost 11 there. They're probably done, but or not Disney Springs, Animal Kingdom. DJ Elliott, we're trying to get him on. He'll be on in the next couple episodes. Not next week. He'll be in South Africa, but the week after, May 7th. Looks like we might be able to get him on. That would be super awesome. If you don't know who he is, go check him out. DJ Elliott. You just Google that and you'll find him. Wow, what an episode. Almost 2 hours again. And I swore last time that hour and a half we were going to just stick with those. But great job, you guys. Talking about old stuff, talking about new stuff. And we always end up, it seems, just complaining. And I know that's not what we want to do on the show. But damn it, it's just, we're passionate, right? Peace is a lie. There's only passion. So, what are you guys up to at the end of the week here? You got Zane. You said you had a couple of shows at the end of the week. You have something Sunday. You said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At Founders Day in Dripping Springs on Sunday.
There you go. Next weekend is weekend. Yeah. Next. What is today? So next weekend's comic book day.
Free
and
comic book
May the
day
4th.
And May the 4th.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come back to you, Kat, because you've got a whole slew of stuff to talk about. Cam, what do you got going on this week?
Surviving the work week, and then I'm playing golf.
Dude, can we go play golf?
I would be
Can I
down.
play with you guys? When are you playing?
Play with my dad in Huntsville.
Okay, never mind. I don't want to interrupt that. That's special time.
But if you'd like to play any other time, I am thoroughly down.
Oh, 100%. I'll be honest, though. I haven't played in I don't think I've played since I've been married to Charla, so like a decade. But I used to be on the high school team. There was that.
Well, I'm improving. So I'm not very good.
It's all about getting out there with the boys and drinking beer. That's really all it's about.
Amen.
Zane, how many times have we been golfing?
So many.
0. Not one time. Oh my goodness. I'm a terrible dad. No, seriously. Just call me Anakin. No, just let me know. We'll hook up. We'll go play some golf.
Yeah.
Not you, Zane. Cam. Zane, you almost used the other finger. I know what you're about to do, and you thought better of it. That's great.
Sure.
There's a dynamic here.
Peace among worlds. Peace among worlds.
Okay. Kat has a whole slew of things because between Debbie and I think we can cover it, but I know you've got it all covered. So roll.
All right. So for all of you that like Star Wars, obviously we are here on the Sith Dominion and we all love Star Wars here. So make sure that you hop on over and check out our podcast on Podbean, Spotify, as well as Apple Music Amazon podcasts, pretty much wherever you want to check your latest podcasts, you can hear us there. Also, we're going to have a new episode of War of the Stars. It'll be dropping onto our podcast channels tomorrow. Thursday at 8:30, if you hop right back over here to our YouTube channel at Geek News Now Official, you're going to have Cantina Happy Hour, also talking about the Bad Batch. Saturdays, if you want to talk about everything else geeky, we've got the Geek Gauntlet at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday. And then for your Marvel fix on Mondays, we will have MCU Monday. And then be right back here Tuesday for the Sith Dominion. And in between, if there's anything else you want to get caught up on, go ahead and hop on over there to geeknewsnow.net. Check out some of our articles, or you can like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kat. I didn't make a big deal out of this, but I'll make a big deal out of it since no one's watching. I just hit my 1 year with GNN. I know, right? I released the I don't even know what article it was now. I think it was the April Fool's. I don't know. Whatever. A couple weeks, whatever. Anyways, I've got now, I don't even know how many articles. I had no idea I could write like that. And David, our Grand Poobah, David Gramillion, thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to write in this way. It's way different than writing academically, which is all I'd done really to that point. Oh, and novelization stuff. But articles are a whole nother animal. Thank you. And then also thank you for giving me this. I would have done this on my own without GNN, but I love that GNN's a part of this because, the power of the GNN AV team. I love that it's an AV team and that it's like an AV club, and I'm a part of that. It's fun. It's like high school again, but in a good way. I didn't have friends in high school, but I have friends now. Well, at least TV friends. So I want to say thank you to GNN as a whole in this episode 34. 34 episodes of the Sith Dominion, believe it or not. We started in July, so we're coming up on 1 year. And we'll be. I'm gonna try to do something cross-showy for our big 50th. Because there's so many people like William, who's on other shows, and David, who's on other shows. Some other folks that have been very instrumental in what we do here in the Sith Dominion. And I want to try to get them on and spend some time with them too. Kat, especially, Debbie. A lot of people think. So when we get to that here in the next 10 episodes or so, it's not that far away. It really isn't.
No, it's not.
I know. So wanna throw that out there. That look forward to that. Look forward to DJ Elliott here in the next couple of weeks. And next week we'll be hitting that middle section of what we know about the Sith. Man, anything else? Any other parting shots? Or are we good, man? That's a full 2-hour show, man. Anything else? I can't hear you if you're muted. I think you're muted, brother.
Go watch Fallout on Prime Video.
Fallout on Prime Video, and then go talk about. I'm sure y'all talk about that in Geek Gauntlet, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about it.
We'll talk about that this Saturday.
We started, but we ended up taking last week off. But we'll be back at it this week.
Very cool. Kat, great to have you back on. Super fun.
It's great to be back.
Debbie, we missed you, but we had Kat. I know you said we wouldn't miss you, but we did. But I don't want to speak that it's just not Debbie. It's Kat. Just like when we had Debbie, but Kat. Okay. Also, Kat, thank you, because my very first Comic-Con ever in October of last year, I went to, and I sent you so many videos and pictures. I flooded you because I wanted to be the good GNN guy. And I think I became the bad GNN guy by default because I gave you too much. No. Super fun doing that too.
It's easier to work with too much content than not enough.
Sure.
And I think I had 2 or 3 other people at events. I think I was at an event that weekend.
Oh, it's crazy. I got to interview some of your friends that you met too from San Antonio. So awesome. Well, we will see you all next week. Thank you all for joining. For those of you that are listening, come check us out on YouTube to check out some of the video stuff that we pop up every now and then as well. Folks, thank you, Cam. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Zane. And for everyone out there, remember, peace is a lie. There is only passion. Good night, kids.